back. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie.
What follows reflects our opinion based on publicly available records. We encourage all HOA members to review those same documents and draw their own conclusions.
In this episode, we examine whether the board's governance decisions have, over time, possibly contributed to increased investor ownership rather than long-term residency, and how that shift may affect costs, property values, and investor influence over community decisions. We begin with the HOA's own records.
In 2009, then board member Mike stated on the record that the board could pass a resolution limiting the number of rental properties in the community.
He also stated that property turnovers were being monitored and that leases were being submitted for approval.
George stated that limiting rentals would be worth examining.
Later that same year, the minutes reflect that Mike would investigate what would be required to pass a resolution limiting the percentage of rental properties.
That sequence matters.
The board identified the issue, it discussed possible approaches, it acknowledged its authority, and understood that options existed.
This establishes documented awareness, authority, and opportunity. In September 2010, the HOA's own maintenance report states, Roger said sealing of the decks had not been done because the front porch repairs on some units had not been done. The rental units are proving to be a problem in this regard.
That statement explicitly associates rental units with delayed maintenance of the Kent decks. In 2022, the Architectural Review Committee again noted that rental properties were particularly challenging with respect to violations and upkeep.
In 2023, a major survey of architectural violations again emphasized rental and investor-owned units.
Different boards, similar conclusions, similar outcomes reflected in the record.
For documented examples of enforcement inconsistency and Kent-related violations, see our episode titled, What are the Architectural Rules? What are the two Kent-specific rules? Are the rules enforced? The episode is linked below.
What appears to be missing from the record is follow-through.
Despite repeated discussion of rental-related maintenance risks, including issues affecting Kent units, the record does not reflect the adoption of a durable policy response during that period. We reviewed Highgate's governing documents. They do not prohibit rental controls.
They allow the board to propose amendments.
And in 2011, the Virginia Attorney General confirmed that homeowners associations may lawfully limit rentals if rules are properly adopted. We will pause briefly so you can review the Attorney General's opinion.
The records reflect awareness of rental-related risks and the authority to act. How many investor-owned properties are there in Highgate?
Using county records, we classified a unit as investor-owned if the owner's mailing address does not match the property address, if a single entity owns multiple units, if the home is known to be a rental regardless of the owner's address, if it is owned by an LLC, or if there is little or no activity at the property. For example, 1501 Colonial Court. There are other homes such as 1527 North Colonial Court, where the owner's mailing address matches the property address, yet the home is reported by HOA members to be a rental. We rely only on publicly available information and information provided by HOA members. We encourage homeowners to ask the board to disclose the actual, current number of rentals in Highgate.
Based on that methodology, investors or disengaged owners own approximately 22% of Highgate homes.
Approximately 25% of the Kent units are investor-owned.
We will pause here to give you time to review the information on screen.
As you can see, 25% of the Kent units are investor-owned. That raises important questions.
Especially when considering the Kent deck assessment.
The HOA's own records associate delayed deck maintenance with Kent rental units.
And today, homeowners face a significant assessment to repair those decks.
Is it fair for the entire community to share those costs when a substantial portion of the affected units are investor-owned, when records associate Kent rentals with delayed maintenance, and seemingly nothing was done to address the issue?
Should costs be shared equally or should alternative allocations be examined? Owners may wish to consider this and review the underlying records to inform their response. County records also show that a board member central to the Kent assessment discussion does not pay property taxes on their unit.
Property taxes are a baseline cost borne annually by resident homeowners.
Differences in cost exposure can reasonably affect perspective. Owners may wish to consider that context when evaluating this board member's position on assessments and future cost increases.
We also need to examine statements made by two board members and how those statements align with the record.
Records note that these board members, who control 40% of the board's votes, stated, "We strongly advocate for allowing rentals within our community. Rentals can bring many benefits, including increased property values. Renters who take pride in their homes and keep them well maintained can help to enhance the appearance of our neighborhood and make it a more attractive place to live." It is also worth noting that many of us have purchased homes in this community with the intention of renting them out as an investment.
The first two statements are difficult to reconcile with the HOA's own records, professional management guidance, and independent research.
The third statement raises reasonable questions regarding the separation between personal investment interests and governance responsibilities.
Board minutes repeatedly associate rental units with overoccupancy, enforcement challenges, deferred maintenance, and architectural violations. And in the Kent context specifically, HOA records associate rental units with delayed deck maintenance.
Highgate is managed by First Service Residential. Information on First Service's Virginia website notes that higher rental concentrations result in rule enforcement problems, increasing turnover and reducing neighborhood stability.
Furthermore, peer-reviewed economic research also challenges the claim that increased rentals raise property values.
Economists Stephen Billings and Adam Solomon find that when owner-occupied homes convert to investor-owned rentals at scale, nearby property values decline by roughly 2%.
When board members publicly advocate for rental policies that align with their stated investment interests, that overlap may reasonably be viewed as creating the appearance of a potential conflict of interest, in our opinion.
This should pique HOA members' interest, given that Highgate is near the tipping point of investors taking control.
How close is Highgate to investor-aligned influence over governance?
Highgate consists of 109 homes. Based on publicly available information and reports from HOA members, approximately 24 of those homes are rentals or owned by disengaged owners, about 22% of the community.
HOA-wide decisions are driven by voting participation, not total ownership.
Typical HOA election turnout ranges from 30 to 40%. At 30% turnout, roughly 33 votes determine board elections and major association decisions.
If a portion of investor-aligned owners vote consistently, they can drive HOA policy in support of investors.
For example, if just 3 additional homes convert to investor ownership, the number of investor-aligned homes would rise to approximately 27. That figure would approach the number of votes typically cast in low-turnout elections.
With 5 additional conversions, investor-aligned ownership would rise to roughly 29 homes, placing it squarely within the range needed to materially control decisions.
In practical terms, relatively small changes in ownership composition can affect who serves on the board, how budgets are prioritized, and how enforcement and maintenance decisions are made. This is true for HOAs at the tipping point, such as Highgate, in our opinion.
In short, based on ownership patterns and typical turnout, Highgate appears to be within 3 to 5 additional conversions of investors controlling the HOA. To understand why this matters, it is important to consider incentives.
Owner-occupants and investors have different motivations.
For owner-occupants, the home is both a residence and a long-term store of value.
Maintenance quality affects daily life. Reserve funding affects financial security. Neighborhood stability affects resale value.
For investors, the home functions primarily as a financial asset.
Economic research suggests investors may be more sensitive to near-term expenses, while owner-occupants often prioritize long-term stability.
When investor preferences influence governance outcomes, the impacts fall unevenly across the community.
Deferred maintenance does not disappear. It becomes emergency work. Emergency work typically costs more.
When reserves are insufficient to cover the emergency work, Those costs are often addressed through special assessments borne primarily by resident homeowners and written off by investors. Highgate's records show a recurring pattern. Early risks are documented, concerns are acknowledged, durable action is not reflected in the record, and costs grow until homeowners are presented with a significant assessment or investors take over control of the HOA.
Owners may reasonably view that pattern as a governance concern worthy of close examination and action. Board members may be your neighbors, but their actions and inactions could be costing you.
Hold the board accountable, attend meetings, review budgets and reserve studies, ask direct questions, request clear answers.
Do not rely on our opinions alone. Review the records and form your own conclusions.
Share this episode with your neighbors.
Like and subscribe.
Until next time.